Antoine Massie is viral right now. For those of you unfamiliar with the story, Antoine Massie was one of 10 people who escaped the Orleans Parish Jail about 2.5 weeks ago, somewhere in the middle of May 2025. And he's been on the run for a little over 2 weeks now. And he's one of 2 fugitives left still on the run. The other 8 have been caught, to my understanding. And, you know, unexpectedly, to everyone's surprise, Antoine Massie released a video on social media pleading his innocence and speaking about the unfairness and corruption in the Louisiana prison, jail, judicial, what have you system. So we're going to check this video out and we're going to speak on it. But first, wipe your feet off at the door when you step into a pimp's domain. Let's go.
Bitch, you want all this pimping you can't afford. Perform like a punk, but wanna win his reward. Some suckers give you points, but bitch, you never scored. If you ain't paying pimping, then bitch, you getting ignored. Okay. I'm so sick of these.
Now, I don't know. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. But to my knowledge, this is the first time that a fugitive took to social media and released a video while they were still on the run. I mean, the closest thing I could think of is young Tay K when he made the song The Race while he was on the run. But in this type of situation, in this way that it was done, this is the first time I've ever seen anything like this. But with no further ado, let's get into this video, man. So this is Mr. Antoine Massie pleading his case, stating his case. Let's get into it.
Massey, I'm one of the ones that was let out of GC. What I want to talk about today is as far as why I was in Orleans Parish Jail. I was in custody for almost 8 months. All right, 6 months, something like that. I was in there for theft of a motor vehicle and domestic abuse involving strangulation. That's what I was in Orleans Parish for. Okay, but before I was in Orleans Parish, I was in a jail called St. Tammany Detention Center. All right, St. Tammany Jail here in St. Tammany Parish. There's 2 different parishes, Orleans and St. Tammany. Okay.
Now, for those of y'all unfamiliar with what a parish is equivalent to a county. Most other places have counties. Louisiana has what they call parishes, but it's pretty much like a county. You know, like where I'm from, California, Los Angeles County, you have Los Angeles County, which is, you know, the county seat is the city of Los Angeles. Then you got multiple other cities. So he's talking about St. Tammany Parish and Orleans Parish, 2 different parishes where he had cases.
Today, what I want to talk about is that I was on 2nd-degree kidnapping, 2nd-degree rape, domestic abuse, battery involving strangulation, domestic abuse, battery, violation of protective order, right? On this woman right here, her name is Diamond White. That's her name. This is a district attorney drop form right here. And she's not a child. She's an adult, a full adult. I was dating this woman. This is a legalized affidavit saying all allegations against me is false. You remember, all allegations against me is false. I was nowhere around her or none of that doing.
Now, one thing I can see is that both of these papers are notarized. So I'm guessing the alleged victim, the young lady that he's talking about, Miss Diamond, she took it upon herself to make these documents stating his innocence, and she went and got these things notarized, which is important. So these are notarized documents stating his innocence from the young lady, allegedly.
Timing of the date, which was November the 10th of 2024. Okay, so I was in St. Tammany, right, and I was on a regular domestic charge, right. So I they put a parole hold on me because I was on a domestic charge. So with that being said, is that once that occurred, and the charges was refused or whatever, they shipped me to Orleans Parish where I had more charges. It was the theft of a motor vehicle and the domestic abuse, battery, involving strangulation. So once I got in Orleans Parish jail, all right, I have from the district attorney's office, this woman who they say that I initially raped in another parish and in Orleans Parish is the same woman here. It's not different females. It's the same grown woman, not a child, a grown woman.
I'm curious as to why he keeps putting emphasis on the fact that this is a grown woman and not a child. I mean, it makes me wonder, was there any speculation about the age of any victims? You know, I don't know, but you know, I get it, but I don't get it.
She did the same thing in Orleans Parish, right? Correct. I'm about to show you how the system is corrupted. Okay, she did this, right? Saying all allegations against me is false, and she even saying it. You know, she let them know the truth that I never did this to her. I never hit her. I was nowhere around her. Nothing. She got mad and thought that I was dealing with another woman. That's why she did what she did to me. You know what I'm saying? Another thing too, once I got into Orleans Parish, I was there for like a month or something like that. Okay, a lot went on as that time progressed. Okay, if you was an innocent person and you know the judges and DA know that this person is saying that all the charges that you're on that you did not do, why was you still in jail? Louisiana have the highest incarceration rate in the world.
I don't know about that, but I wouldn't doubt it. But as far as him sitting in jail as an innocent man and the DA and the judge having these documents proclaiming his innocence from the young lady herself, who's the alleged victim. See, what people got to understand is, you know, just me understanding the system, right? When someone puts allegations on you, that's serious, right? Because they snatch you off the streets and you have to prove your innocence from behind the wall. And most of us, like I was, the times that I was locked up fighting cases, and like this young man here, most of us are too broke to, you know, put a proper defense together to represent ourselves with the right type of attorney and, you know, to fight accordingly to prove our innocence, right? So this is why it's just messed up when a young lady puts these type of allegations on somebody that are not true. Now, in his case, I don't know, because I don't know him, I don't know her, I wasn't there, so I don't know what's true and what's false. But one thing I do know is that I won't even use the word corrupt, but definitely unfair. The system is undoubtedly unfair to, you know, people like us, black folks. But let's continue.
Putting black people away. Yes. At the end of the day, in my younger life, I'm not gonna lie, I was causing problems. I was young. My daddy got killed when I was 7 years old. My mom had to raise 4 children by herself, so I had to find a way to try to help my mother. You feel what I'm saying?
And see, I understand all of that, and I can relate to all of that. But see, what was just messed up, right, is that those people in those courtrooms, those judges, those prosecutors, you know, even your public pretender, they don't care about any of that type of stuff. They don't care about the fact that your father was taken from you when you were 7 years old, and that your mother had to raise 4 kids by herself. You know, it's just unfortunate that they don't care about how those types of things factor into who you become and therefore the types of decisions that you make.
But as time went on, the person that I once was, I'm not that person today. That is not who I am. I have a 3-year-old son. I have an 18-year-old daughter that graduated yesterday, supposed to be. At the end of the day, that people don't understand that they see that I'm armed and dangerous. I have a heart. People that know me know that at the end of the day, I am a good person. So I'm asking for help from the world, from Meek Mills, Lil Wayne, Young Boy, Donald Trump. I'm asking for these people. I couldn't even get a lawyer. I couldn't even afford a lawyer to prove my innocence while I was in Orleans Parish jail.
Man, I'll this right here is a trip, right? It's just a trip to just see the type of world that we live in where, you know, what's the odds of a young man in his situation escaping jail and then having the platform to plead his innocence before millions of people and, you know, ask for help from, I'm pretty sure these people that he named have seen this by now. Pretty sure Meek Mill done seen it. Pretty sure Lil Wayne done seen it. Pretty sure Donald Trump done seen it. You know, they've been all over the news as it is for escaping jail. But now that he's, you know, pleading for their help, I'm pretty sure they done seen this. Now, what type of action they take in response to this remains to be seen. But again, it just trips me out the times that we live in, how, you know, a young man in his odd situation can take to these platforms and reach who he wants to reach, because he said who he would like to help him, and I'm pretty sure that he's reached those people by now.
That I broke out. I didn't break out. I was let out. My name is Antoine Massie. The guy who said that I threatened him with a shank, the maintenance guy. How could I threaten you with a shank? If you can't come around me, you're a maintenance. You cannot come on the tills without a deputy being behind you.
Now, see, this is, I just got to be 100. This is the type of thing that's going to play against him, that's not going to play in his favor, right? When you say that you didn't break out, that you were let out, you know, I'm just, you know, playing devil's advocate, because I know how them people look at things and I know how them people think, right? They don't care about whether or not you broke out or were let out. Even if you were let out, the bottom line is that you were under the custody of that jail, and the authorities of that jail did not release you. So you basically escaped. Whether you were let out or you broke out, the bottom line is that you escaped because you left when you were not supposed to leave, you know, in their eyes. That's how they're going to look at it, right? And then you're still on the run. You're still a fugitive of justice. So, you know, them people don't care about whether or not you was let out. They're not going to say, oh, you know what, he didn't break out. You know, he didn't destroy any property or hurt anybody when he left. You know, somebody just left the door unlocked and he just dipped out, and okay, you know, we're going to cut him some slack based on that. Nah, they don't care about that, man. You know, this is the problem. You know, this is why people don't represent themselves. And this is why a lawyer is in the best interest of most people, because most people don't know how to represent themselves in the court of law. You know, they say things like this. So, yeah, man, he really could have kept that. That part of the story is irrelevant. You know, now him pleading his innocence as far as threatening the maintenance man, you know, I get that. Because if you didn't threaten the maintenance man, then by all means, yeah, you know, plead your case when it comes to that. But the whole I was let out, you really should have kept that. That ain't going to play in your favor, bro. But let's continue.
They just let you on until you could be persuaded to bring drugs or anything like that nature. So how can I threaten you to jail you? And why you didn't notify the people, the police, that if I did threaten you, you never did that? Like, you flat out lied on me. Sterling flat out lied on me. And
now it's a catch-22 now, because by him pleading his innocence, I get that, you know, you pleading your innocence, but at the same time, you throwing the maintenance man under the bus, you know, and that ain't cool. You dig? That ain't no RNS, no real ninja shit. You dig? Me, myself, I wouldn't have did all that. I wouldn't have threw the maintenance man under the bus. I wouldn't have, implied that he was the one who let us out and, basically incriminating the maintenance man. Myself, I don't even know how to do that. It's not even in my anything within me that would allow me to do that. So that ain't cool, man.
Let the media know that from the straight tattoos in my face and things of that nature, of course they gonna believe Sterling. You know what I'm saying? I never told Sterling nothing. I'm willing to take a lie detector test and everything behind that, but that's another subject. Orleans Parish is one of the corruptedest jails. That in St. Tammany Parish is the corruptedest jails in the state of Louisiana. Why was I even incarcerated?
I can't lie. A lot of times when people mess up words and make up words and pronounce words incorrectly, I be on their bumper. A lot of times Freeze be like the grammar police, but he sound real smooth when he said corruptedest. Like they the most corruptedest jails. I can't lie, corruptedest. Like just say it to yourself one time, corruptedest. It just rolled off the tongue real cool. You dig? It just do somersaults off your tongue like like a Olympic diver. You dig? Corruptedest. I like the way that rolled off the tongue. I ain't even mad at him for messing that word corruptedest or making that word up. You dig? Go ahead and let us know about the corruptedest jails. You dig?
Woman said that this never happened. This is this woman's name. This is the charge, domestic abuse strangulation. This is about the shit in St. Tammany. Why would I, in Orleans Parish, why was I even in jail? That's what I'm trying to show y'all. That's why I left the jail. And they have a lot more brothers that's innocent, just like me, that's trying to prove their innocence. That's why they ran. Jason Williams, the sheriff, Susan Hudson, these people are corrupted. These people was talking to St. Tammany and telling St. Tammany they gonna sentence me behind this, and telling St. Tammany if they can't get me, St. Tammany gonna get me. You see what I'm saying?
Now I believe that part. The sheriff people that he talking about, a lot of times they are corrupt, but just simply saying it without having substantial proof of what you're saying, it's just like hot air to people. People, it's in one ear and out the other. People ain't gonna really grab hold of that. That you don't really have, other than these affidavits, you don't really have any proof to what you're saying. So again, this really needs to be about, if you're innocent, then speak on your innocence, right? Then people don't really care about the corrupt talk when it comes to their system or their jails and all that type of stuff. You really need to be trying to appeal to the right people the right way. Even the people that you're pleading for your help, Meek Mill, Lil Wayne, Donald Trump, they don't want to hear about how corrupt the system is. Meek Mill know firsthand how corrupt the system is. Lil Wayne know firsthand. All them type of things go without saying. You want to get to why. Your why. What is your why? You want your freedom, right? Get down to the bottom of that, man. But pointing out how corrupt people are, they just gonna be, they gonna have more of a vendetta against you, and it's probably gonna be uglier for you than it was in the first place, because now they feel like you thumbing your nose at them. You dig?
A woman that's a grown adult that never stated that I ever raped her. They have a detective that's over the case, that's trying to pursue charges on me because of my prior history. Who I was in the past is not who I am today. So I'm asking for the media. I don't even have a lawyer to help me. I'm asking for help. That's why I ran. You feel me? I'm a grown man, man. I have kids. I have a mother. I have a baby mother, my children mother. Like it's a lot going on. And that's why I ran. I need help. You feel what I'm saying? Orleans Parish in St. Tammany is one of the corruptest parishes in the world. and I'm asking for help. It's a lot of corruption, it's jiggins, all type of stuff going on, and they covering it up. They don't care about nothing. In the state of Louisiana, this is something that need to go under a federal investigation. What's going on? How they handling cases? Why Antoine Massie was in jail if the woman, the victim, the grown woman, not a child, the grown woman stated that he never raped her, he never beat her, he was nowhere in her presence. This is the affidavits on the date right here. This is the drop form from the district attorney office. This woman when did this. I didn't do this. Look, it's legally dated.
Yeah, you can't see the notary stamp right here, which says, I think that say May 21st or May 25th or March 25th, excuse me. So these documents were notarized on March 25th. So yeah, they are official.
So I'm asking please for help. Young boy, Meat Mills, people, LBL, you know what I'm saying? People that been through the system that know it's corrupt. Lil Wayne, Donald Trump, please, I'm asking for help. You know what I'm saying? When I get back in custody, I'm asking y'all please to come and help. You feel what I'm saying? I'm asking the world. I'm letting y'all know I'm not a raper, man. I'm not none of that. None of that. I'm a good person. I am a father that want to be in my children's life. You know what I'm saying? I want to let the younger youth know that going down the route of trying to be a street person is not the route. That's what type of person I am. Yes, I was lied on. They made Sterling lie on me. All the guys they picked me for him to lie on. I'm not saying Sterling a bad guy, but why did you pick me to lie on, bro?
You ain't saying Sterling a bad guy, but you pretty much saying that he let you out of jail, that you didn't break out. But I get it though, man. You pleading your innocence, man.
It's Sterling. I don't know why they picked me for him to lie on, but I never threatened Sterling ever. How could I threaten Sterling or hurt Sterling? He cannot come on and sit with me without a deputy being present.
Sterling trying to keep his job, man. So of course he gonna make it seem like you was aggressive towards him in order to get up out of there. You know, that there was some force involved or a threat or something like that. Of course Sterling gonna play that hand on them because, you know, Sterling want to keep his job. Sterling like being the maintenance man. You dig? You know, Sterling don't want no problems out of nobody. You know, me, myself, if Sterling let me up out of there, man, I wouldn't have nothing bad to say about Sterling. Even if he did say, oh, man, he threatened me. You know, I get that. That kind of come with the whole script. You dig? I wouldn't even be mad at Sterling, man. I wouldn't have nothing bad to say about Sterling or how he handled anything. You know, right on to Sterling, man, for letting the brothers loose. You dig?
My name is Antoine Massie. I'm asking for help. I was one of the ones that was let out Orleans Parish Jail on May the 16th or May the 15th, 2025. So please, Meat Mills, Donald Trump, Lil Wayne, please help me. Lil Wayne, this is Big Antoine's son that's talking right now. I'm Lil Antoine. I was in your mama wedding when she married Rabbit. I was the ring boy, Lil Wayne. Please help me, bro.
Okay, so he got some ties to Lil Wayne. He was the ring boy in his mama's wedding. Dig that. See, of course, you know, he seems composed on that video, but I could just imagine the stress that he's under, the pressure that he's under. It got to be heavy. It got to be a lot. And when you're in that type of situation, it's, you know, it's not the easiest thing to think wisely and be tactical and careful what you say and all that type of stuff, right? But his language is going to have a major impact on how he's perceived. So with that being said, instead of putting so much focus on corruption, he should have put more focus on fairness, right? Because fair and unfair is cut and dry, right? But, you know, corruption is more, you know, up in the air. It's more a matter of opinion. whether or not something is corrupt, right? Because the same thing that you looking at and seeing as corrupt, other people will look at and say that it's fair. But to point out what's unfair about the situation, what's unfair about the system, that's what my focus would have been. So my plea, if I'm putting myself in his shoes, my plea would have been for fairness. Just give me a fair shake. That's all I want. I just want things to be fair. Because if things are fair, then, let this young lady go through whatever channel she got to go through to help me prove my innocence, right? And then I'm gonna give some game, right? For anybody who might end up in this situation again, or for the young man himself while he's still on the loose. What he should have did and what he might still have time to do is create a GoFundMe. See, when you're going to utilize technology in that way, hey, man, you got to go all out. He should have had a GoFundMe link on that video. He should have showed a barcode or, to a Cash App or something. I don't know about Cash App, but the GoFundMe, he definitely should have had that set up already and directed people to the GoFundMe so they can contribute. Because if you just think about it, right? The boy who killed the United Healthcare worker, he was like a hero to a lot of people, and he has so much support, and there's other people who've been in similar situations where they catch a case and, man, some people done did some horrible things and they was really guilty of the horrible things that they've been accused of. And they still have, throngs of people coming to support them and contribute to their bail, contribute to their attorney fees, all of that, right? So with that said, man, hey, this young man, if he's still on the loose, man, he need to create a GoFundMe, or he need to have some of his peoples create a GoFundMe, because, man, they can't deny that. They can't deny that, man. And the GoFundMe will go up right now. He on fire right now on the internet. That man need to create that GoFundMe. That's what I would be on. Create that GoFundMe and then use that money to go get you the proper representation. Then, with the right attorney. Then once you get the right attorney, you dig, bail is probably out the question for you. I was gonna say if it hadn't been a situation like this, but you never know. That right attorney might be able to, pull the right strings and plead for you to get a bail. You just never know. It's always more than meets the eye. But if that young man was smart, that's what he would do. Create that GoFundMe. That's what I would do if I was in that situation. I'd have been did that. I'd have had to GoFundMe ready before I even did that video. That way, once people see the video, they could immediately go to the GoFundMe. And I'm sure that video got millions of views between all the different platforms. People like myself reviewing it. That video got millions of views by now. Just imagine how many people would have contributed to the GoFundMe. Shit, I probably would have threw a few dollars on there, right? I like something Compton Rick Rock did, man. He went and put money on Loose Cannon, Big U, and Brick Baby's books because he been making hella money off of them doing content, right? So his philosophy is, if I eat, you eat. So he made sure that they ate. With that being said, hey, man, if I eat off of this, and Antoine Massie has a GoFundMe, but even just on the strength, even if this video don't make a whole lot of money for me, which it probably won't, but whether or not it did, man, or does, I would definitely contribute to the GoFundMe. I'd put something on it because I know what it's like to be in an unfair situation like that, where you don't have a proper representation. You in jail, you broke, you can't afford a lawyer, you can't afford bail. It's just all bad. And they ain't trying to hear you. You pretty much guilty until proven innocent in their eyes, even though it's supposed to be the other way around. The reality is that's the way it is. So, yeah, man, hopefully if this young man is innocent as he proclaims, hopefully, justice can prevail in his favor. Hopefully, whatever the case is, whatever the situation is, hopefully he gets a fair shake. Hopefully they just give him a fair chance. And, by him bringing attention to the situation the way that he did, they do have to consider certain things. Like those documents, them affidavits, that might be considered in a different way now that it's been, brought to the masses. But he should have put some links on there or put some pictures with it. That way people could look at the affidavits and see them and read them, all the details, as opposed to just holding up the paper. But I know how it is, you on the run, you stressed out. I ain't ever even been on a run like that before. So I can imagine how that is. But best of blessings to the young man, best of blessings to his family. And, I even heard that the young lady who was the alleged victim, I guess she got arrested allegedly for aiding and abetting him since he's been on the run. The same woman is supposed to be the victim. So obviously she ain't really much of a victim if she's helping him, stay a fugitive on the loose, you dig? So hopefully all that whole situation straightens out, and blessings to the children, you dig? Blessings to his kids. Hopefully they end up being straight, you dig? But that's my take on that. Let that marinate on your mind one time, freezes it. Go ahead, put some of this good old love in your body like so. And of course, as always, long live the incomparable Sinful to P. We out. Dig this.
Yeah.
I've been stroking relentless to get waves like this. I spoke into existence for her to pay like this. In the trenches on a day like this, traffic consistent, and so I have to insist that she relay my chips. It's a trap with her name on it and my game on it. Any forces coming against this game, shame on it. Standing on my pimpin' from day one and remain on it. It carried me through every terrain and I gained on it. Experience joy and pain on it, sustained on it.
But getting back to this game that I never left.
Baby, I wait.